It's good to have you join us for your favorite program. This is Close Flow coming to you from NTA to Lagos Network Center. It's always our delight, the entire production crew, of course, and my humble self, welcoming you to this show because we know that you are very eager to see again yet another distinguished Nigerian who is going to be sharing with us some experiences and some, expectations, as it were, of how Nigeria can actually be our dream country. The conversation today, again, will be looking at how we can change the narrative concerning the economy, our economic trend, not only for Nigeria, but how Nigeria can become, as it were, the stimulus for the entire African economic agenda. But this time around, that economic adventure will be propelled, or as it were, will be driven by science, technology, engineering, and of course we know we are very creative, arts and mathematics. We are looking at how that particular combination, that combo of knowledge can be used to change our narrative as a country, to change our narrative as a continent, and to change our narrative as part of the Human Development Program. That conversation is going to be held with our guest, who incidentally is not here with us in Nigeria, is far away in the USA, but is very, very primed to be part of this revealing and explosive discussion. So stay with us, don't go anywhere, and don't forget, the conversation is always about you, so you have to play your role, you have to take responsibility, and be a part of how we can change the story of Nigeria, how we can turn things around for our country so that we don't keep singing the same song, poverty and impoverishment. So stay with us, and I will be back shortly.
Hey, beautiful, your eyes, your smile are all begging me to take you home tonight.
Now reading page 3.
Experience unlimited superfast internet access from Intel 4G.
Intel. Live more.
Experience unlimited superfast internet access from Intel 4G.
Intel. Live more.
Thank you for staying with us. Already you have seen, well, a bio of our guests. So I may not need to say too much, just that it's important. The great takeaway from that bio is that this is a multiple degree holder, 4 masters and 2 PhD. That's quite a huge milestone for a Nigerian who actually graduated from Federal University of Technology here in Owerri. Okay, so Prof, you're welcome to Close Flow.
Thank you so much for having me. What a privilege to be here on NTA. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and it's a privilege also to have you join us as we unravel or as we look, as we investigate and dig into how economically Nigeria and Africa can be where you think we should be. Now, let's start from the get-go. Now, in South Africa, you are being described as a doctor of innovation. So what innovation can we bring to our economic agenda as a country? Let's start from there and then multiply that and see how Nigeria can become the focal point of economic rebirth of the continent. Let's have your take on that.
So I think, thank you so much once again for having me in this wonderful program. What a privilege to have an opportunity of speaking to the Nigerian people this morning through the NTA. So when it comes to innovation, I think there are so many sectors we have to drive that entrepreneurial capitalism so that we can begin to do things instead of just talking over things. So the construct of innovation is having that ability to create products and services. So in our education, we need to be more innovative. In our healthcare services, we need to be more innovative. In our agricultural systems, we need to be innovative. So across all sectors, Nigeria needs to transition from an inventive society of just talking about things to actually doing things. So in the South African press, why they called me the Doctor of Innovation is I like to focus on how nations or how companies or citizens have to move from the point of just talking about solutions to actually making those solutions come to pass. If you go to the Molwe Park in Lagos there, you will realize one thing. Everyone has a solution for electricity. Everyone has a solution for clean water. But wait for next month, wait for next 2 years. We don't have those things. So how do we break that cyclical problem that we cannot get things done in Nigeria? We just like to talk about things. So that is the construct of my own postulation that we need to become an innovation economy and not an inventive economy that just talks about things.
Great, great. Thank you for that. That actually is pointing us in the direction that we want to go. My challenge, though, Prof, my challenge is that the whole of Africa seems to be locked in that analog conversation. We don't seem to have agreed that the dominant operational systems, which will be, of course, digitization and IoT, Internet of Things, would not seem to be the suitable arrangement for us here. We are still very analog in our disposition, in our thinking, in our interactions. How do you now relate this innovativeness you're talking about with our disposition as a people?
Of course, if you look at it here, I would say that the people that are leading politically in Africa, most of them grew up in the analog era. And because we have not had that transformation, that translation, where young people that are actually leading this digital age to have an opportunity to participate in that leadership role, it means that we are actually depriving ourselves something that is very critical. So if you go to Lagos, you go to Port Harcourt, you go to Kano, and go around our nation, you see our young people driving a Cambrian moment of entrepreneurial capitalism. These funds they are raising from Americans, from British, from French people, these are real money. When they say they have raised millions of dollars, the world is believing and investing in them. But unfortunately, at the leadership political level, they are not represented. So that is the reason why we have this massive dislocation. There are young people that are ready for the future. But now there are political leaders who are still stuck in the past. And because of that, we are in a state of stasis where we cannot actually get to that promised land where we think we have the capability of getting to. So when you look at it on talent and knowledge and capabilities, Nigerian young people are just competent as any other group of people in the world. But what is different is that our environmental system does not give them the opportunity for them to dream, just like other young people around the world. And that is where, as a nation, we need to fix it. So if you are talking about logistics today, if you're talking about digital bank of the future, if you're talking about cryptocurrency, talking about IoT and other things, artificial intelligence, we have them. But they are not at the position where they can drive the right policy for the future they want to live, and not the future the people that are ruling Nigeria today want to live. We have to deal with that so that we can give them the opportunity, so that we can get to that mountaintop.
Okay, that's great. That's just brilliant. That's a great observation, and that's right up your alley. Now, but you're an inventor of a robot or robotic creation. But is it a mere speculation that robotics and artificial intelligence, when powered by neuro-linguistic programming (NLP), can help us to develop humanoids and surrogates? Is that just mere speculation?
You know, there are so many promises for the future. The fact is that no one really knows the whole nations what robots and what artificial intelligence can unleash to the world. But the most important thing here is not to be too carried away about these historic technology systems. We just have to have the capacity to do the basic things. Give us 24/7 electricity. Give us clean water. Give us decent healthcare system. The promises of robotics and AI will have to go through those things. If you do not have electricity, robots may not necessarily help you that much. AI will not necessarily help you that much. So there are fundamental things I do believe that Africa has to play a role. We have to deal with those things because we cannot leapfrog darkness. You need to have electricity before you can drive robotics. Now, when it comes to robotics, when it comes to AI, they are going to become the engines which the African economy must compete again. You know, if you look at our developmental paradigm, we are trying to clone China, hoping that when wage goes up in China, the world will begin to outsource things to Africa. I had a very, very well-received article in Harvard many months ago, where I noted that in the future, some of the jobs that Americans and British are sending to China, they may not even need to send them to China because those jobs will be done by robots in America. And if that is the case, our own developmental paradigm, where we believe that when wage becomes expensive in China, they begin to send them to Africa, may not happen. So we need to do most fundamental things. Get our educational system right. Make sure that our young people are actually equipped, especially in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And now provide the basic infrastructure upon which young people can dream. Let me tell you something, sir. If you go to Lagos, go to Aba, go to Kano, they are turning gasoline car engines into gas car engines. They did not go to Germany to learn that. They did not go to America to learn that. Our young people right there in Lagos, right there in Aba, right there in Owerri, Kano, Oshobo, they actually taught themselves. So they have the capacity to actually adapt technologies and build whatever they want to build. The problem is this: they have never been given the opportunity to scale those up mindsets. So we have to have a national policy that is driven in a very practical way that can actually help them to dream beyond where they are today.
Okay, well, that is a great point you are highlighting there. But if you're going to now look at it, juxtapose what the young people, the next generation, what they are doing and what current leadership is providing, we seem to have a lapse there somewhere. So how do we bridge that gap? How do we, politically as it were, bridge that gap so that the pathfinding attitude of the next generation can therefore be harnessed in our leadership program?
Of course, there's so many things here, and one has to also be mindful that there are just things even the government itself cannot do. You know, it's very critical for us to understand relatively Nigeria is not a rich country. You know, we try to think that we are very, very rich because when you look at government, you say, hey, so many big men there, so many big women there. But relatively, Nigeria remains largely not a rich country. If you look at our budget, it's about $35 billion. The budget of South Africa is close to $100 billion. But the South African population is around 60 million, while Nigeria is 210. In other words, South Africa spends more than $65 billion even though they are one-third, less than one-third of the Nigerian population. So it means that Nigeria lives on a state of scarcity. And that means that we just have to get out of the paralysis. And that is the only way that even the promises of government can actually come to pass. So I'm not going to stay here and say government cannot do this, government cannot do, because most times government doesn't even have the resources to do those things, because technically we don't have the money. But there is one thing that is very critical. The university system and our private sector, they must find a way for them to work together. Nations rise when pioneering entrepreneurs emerge. And market systems, they will provide the vista for us to fix any paralysis in Nigeria. The promises of politicians are usually the opportunities in markets. So I don't really want to depend that Abuja is going to solve our problem, that the state capitals are going to solve our problem. I do believe that the market systems, the young entrepreneurs, innovators in Lagos, Jos, Aba, Owerri, Osogbo, Ibadan, they are the future for the nation. But the university has to prepare them for the opportunities in the market. But if the university cannot do that, we will not rise as a people. You know, no nation can rise faster than this educational system. If you go back to the Greek Empire, you go back to the Romans, you go even to the best of America today is because they have the best university system in the world at the tertiary educational level. So Nigeria cannot rise better than the educational system. So that's why I'm pushing it back to schools, that this is the time for us to prepare the young people for the future, because they are going to become the high priest that will help us to unlock the opportunities that we want to unlock in our beautiful country, Nigeria.
Okay, great again, because you have tabled the promissory note from government, and I would just want to quantify that. The growth plan of the federal government of Nigeria is advocating or pushing that we should be able to generate about $1 billion in export. Now, you have said if we are going to realize that, then we have to scale up our scientific and technological education, as it were. So how do you see us doing that? For instance, you are far away in America, being, as it were, helping the American economy to grow. So what happens to Nigeria?
You know, the best exports Nigeria makes is the people. Unfortunately, we export some of our finest products. You know, we are just babies in America here. There are Nigerians that are legends. These are men and women who most of us are so honored even to be associated with them. Unfortunately, they are people you don't know. They are working in NASA, they are working in Microsoft, they are working in Intel, and these are pioneering legends that are actually changing the ordinance of technology systems around the world. They help to build the American economy, they help to build the Canadian economy, they help to build the European economy. So imagine if those men and women had stayed behind. The best work I have done, Nigeria is not necessarily going to benefit from it, because the patent I have, the United States government acquired the right to it. They're using it in this space now. But now Nigeria gave me a largely free education in football. So just imagine that. And I'm just one of the little babies. There are now people that are actually tested at a higher level. So the question is not really whether we can generate 1 billion naira export or whether we can generate 10 billion export. I believe Nigerian GDP of 500 billion, less than 5, is absolutely very low. My optimality is that Nigeria should be in a GDP of $3 trillion. $3 trillion by now. Wow. And if you're on $3 trillion, the implication is that Nigerian economy will be a factor of 6 bigger. If you need to have a factor of 6 bigger, it means that your manufacturing sector has to be better. It means that your banking sector has to be bigger. It means that practically everything has to be by a factor of 6. One bank in South Africa can buy all the banks in the Nigerian stock exchange and still have a change. How can we say we are the giant of Africa? One company in South Africa can buy the Nigerian stock exchange and will still have a change. How is that possible? So that means that we have not translated our opportunities, all these latent opportunities, into reality. And that is where I think that the government has to have a mechanism to bring our diaspora, some of our finest around the world, see how they can work with our local people that are the home soil to build that future of Nigeria. India does it, Israel does it. But in Nigeria, we have not figured out a way to do that. Because there is this kind of a fight. Ndubuisi has called because he's looking for a contract. I don't need government contract. In short, I've never sent any invoice to the Nigerian government. Whenever they ask me to do something, I say, don't bother. I don't need your money. I can find any money I need in America. So the question is this: can we have that partnership? Those are the home soil, those in the diaspora, and together we can architect one of the finest nations on earth, and then we can become that nation everyone thinks that Nigeria can be.
Great. I like the solutions you're proffering there. How we practicalize that, how we achieve that will now be the next milestone for the country. Now, you have mentioned STEAM. I've added art because we know that we are very creative here, and the Nollywood itself has, well, as it were, established a full position for the Nigerian economy. So I've added art to this STEM so that we can look at how science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, along with software engineering, can be embraced as the economic priorities for this country, and which we can do actually across borders. We don't have to be living here in Nigeria to apply this. We don't have to be. We can be anywhere in the world and deploy this knowledge. So how do we go about doing that?
I think everything in Nigeria will work really well if we begin to bring back merit. I mean, I'm not trying to be on a national television to say that we are not a merit-driven nation. You see, the fact is this. I spent time in Usman Dan Fodio University. I saw extremely brilliant young people that are doing amazing things in renewable energy. I went to ABU Zaria. I went to Federal University of Technology. I went to University of Obafemi Awolowo University, Ife. I have been to more than 100 universities in Nigeria. I saw clusters of great young people doing things. But you know, the funny thing is, because young people think that to a large extent that excellence does not pay anymore, especially in our governance system, especially in our public institutions, they do not pursue that. So whether it is engineering, whether it is arts, whether it is mathematics or whatever, if we can get back to understand that a boy in Kano may have a better talent in leather than a boy in Jos, and if we can give them the opportunity for them to actually just grow, you see that there is a comparative advantage for a university student in Usman Dan Fodio University in renewable energy. They have the Renewable Energy Institute there, than a student in Federal University of Technology. But a guy in Federal University of Technology may have a better skill set in petroleum engineering. By the time everyone enjoys that comparative advantage, you know what? Nigeria will advance. But today, that is not the case. I have seen first-class graduate students in University of Ibadan that cannot find jobs. Whereas in the same nation, people that made top class go find opportunity. So we just have to deal with all those demons. By the time we deal with all those demons, that is the time you begin to see these young people are aspiring to be the best. Why will you aspire to be the best when the best opportunity for the best is not given to you? You know, I finished as the best student in my class in Futo. 6 months to graduation, my head of department told the company that came to hire me, Ndubuisi will not be open for interview. If you want to hire him, I will sign this offer letter for him because you don't even need to test me. Because he said, I want to give you my best. And my best shouldn't come for an interview because we have so much confidence in the students that we produce. Imagine if he has said, oh, Ndubuisi's name, I don't like it. Let me get another person that sounds another name. How do you think the people behind me would think? Because they now believe that merit will not give them that opportunity they actually are working towards. So we need to drive merit in the nation. If we drive nation, every challenge we have with our young people, they will fix those immediately. Thank you.
Now, the recurring decimal there, Prof, is the fact that this is a critical challenge, you know, in our domestic process, especially democratic process. And that's the question of not having merit. So is it not possible, for instance, to develop scientific solutions that can help us correct the fault line in conducting elections, for instance? Is it not possible for us to deploy scientific solutions to see us conduct free and fair elections where merit will be enthroned, as it were, nationally?
Absolutely. There is that hypothesis that we can do that. But you see, political systems always struggle when the citizens are prone to being, let me not use the word bribed. So I think we have the
Prone to being corrupted.
Nigeria. Yeah, what they say, stomach infrastructure. You're promising a man who has not eaten for a day and that you are going to build a power plant to provide electricity in 3 years. What has that got to do for him? So he wants to eat food today because he may not even think he may be alive in 3 years' time to enjoy electricity. So until we can actually boost the economic capacity of our people, then it may be very difficult for us to have a political system where people vote for the best instead of voting for people that promise them immediate reward, either through giving them rice, giving them tomato, or giving them money. So you don't just think about it. The best they have a place like America is because what President Biden can eat in the morning today, a typical American can afford that. So if the president tells him, hey, this is what I want you to do, he can independently assess whether that makes sense or not. But when someone has not eaten for 2 days, then that individual is now susceptible to any political maneuver. So we need to work hard as a people to see how we can actually fix that. That is why I go back to the private sector. Because if you go back to the United States, the time of Rockefeller, the time of D.Y. Mellon, the time of Carnegie, these men actually started building from nothing. And if you go to the Nollywood in Nigeria, government did not write any ads for the Nollywood. It came by itself, even without the support of the government initially. I recall vividly when we were in Futo, people that were going into art in Nollywood, even many parents discouraged them. But today, wow, if your child is in the Nollywood game, you think that your child is a celebrity. So the perception had changed because market systems have validated the hypothesis upon which those pioneering entrepreneurs in Nollywood gained. So we need to drive that kind of renaissance across other sectors, not just entertainment. We need to do that in agriculture. We need to do that in healthcare services. If we do all those pockets, Abuja may not even be very relevant. The political state capitals, let me tell you one thing, sir. The day America shut down during President Trump in Washington, I think the government, America was moving on. No one even remember that Washington was on strike or whatever. Because the private sector is so strong that the profit that Microsoft makes in a month can actually keep things going. We need to get to that level. And that is why I want the corporate Nigeria to rise to this challenge. We cannot just sit down there and think that the destiny of the nation is not in our hands.
Okay, brilliant again, Prof. You are hitting the nail, solidly, and I expect our viewers to join us shortly when we come back, so that all of us can be part of this conversation. The takeaway from me from this first part that we have dealt with Prof is the fact that he's saying that the private sector can no longer sit on the fence and be expecting miracles to come from the public sector. So all of us must be able to speak up as how Nigeria can become one of the greatest nations on the face of the earth. Stay with us. We shall be back shortly.
We must dilate the eyes. We look for if they have cataract, look at the back of their eyes. They have glaucoma. We do a full workup for them.
You will remember, a lot of our government should actually open their eyes, especially southwest of the state.
We're going to be looking deeper than we ever looked in before to ensure that we close all the loopholes.
It manifests as physical symptoms.
Every edition is an arresting conversation with distinguished Nigerians from various strata of the society, bearing their minds on how we can realize the Nigeria of our dreams. Join us live on Close Flow, Monday, every week here on NTA2 Lagos Network Center. Closed Flow. The conversation is about you.
Thank you for staying with us. I'm sure that you are very excited about what Prof has shared with us, and I'm looking forward to having you join us, okay, in this conversation. the numbers to call. Don't forget again, just get a piece of paper and your biro and write down the numbers so you don't mix them up. So for your voice call, that is, you want us to hear you as you ask Prof one or two questions, call this number, 080-5975-3044. I'll take that again, 080-5975-3044. That is for you to speak to us, call us, but lower the volume of your TV set when you're making that call so you can then talk to Prof and ask him one or two questions, or maybe just pass your comment on what he has said so far. Otherwise, if you are experiencing drop call, please, I urge all of us to instead drop a text message. Just write your message in a text as SMS and send to us. We can read out the messages so that Prof can actually, engage you in that conversation. And the SMS number, don't call this number, send SMS, text to this number, 080-6350-8434. Let me run that again, 080-6350-8434. Let's have you join this conversation so we can define how we can change the story of Nigeria, how the narrative about Nigeria can be on a scale that is going positive rather than just being negative. Now, Prof, if you are still with me, yes, Prof, are you still with me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now, Prof, you have mentioned something that, again, I also like to scale up. That's about the partnership between the public and the private sector. But how do you react to our domestic responses on the issue of cryptocurrency and blockchain solutions? How do you react to our domestic responses, our domestic disposition on cryptocurrency and blockchain solutions?
Of course, I would say largely that many of us here, we do not have the data systems that government has. I mean, the Central Bank of Nigeria certainly has access to better data about the nation than I do. But nevertheless, one thing I do know is that when new technology systems are coming into any economy, it's always very good to have a nuanced strategy instead of a mindset of suspend, ban, and just care. So if you go to United States of America, you go to Japan, you see that some of these advanced economies, even though they may not really understand everything immediately, they have a window to say, I am not going to ban you, but I'm not going to allow you to do whatever you want to do. Let's just stay at the gray area so that we continue to understand and learn, because they don't want to meet the next opportunity that our technology can unlock. So by banning cryptocurrency, making it impossible for exchanges to be connected to the Nigerian banking system, to a large extent, the nation is saying...
Prof, 1 second, please. We have a call. We have a call coming. Yes, Emmanuel.
Okay.
Hello, Emmanuel.
Yes, hello. Yes, this is Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Okay, great. So quickly ask your question and let Prof, provide an answer.
Okay, I want to find out from Prof. Good morning. That's a good morning.
Whatever time it is there, it's okay. Just go ahead.
It's still morning here.
I want to ask you a quick question. I believe that Nigeria's problem can be solved first by solving the problems we have in the educational sector. Okay. I also believe that if we can improve in the human capital development, we can solve a lot of problems in a short time. Okay. What's your opinion on this? What do you think? How do you think we can
go about it?
Invest in education, to change the narratives we have present in the country?
Absolutely. I think I do believe vividly that is really the most critical element for the nation. No nation can advance faster than its educational system. If you go back to this, knowledge is a very critical factor of production in our modern time. If you do not invest to build knowledge systems for the future, there is just no way you can compete. Right from the time of the Bible, the Old Testament, the Bible said that when Moses appeared before the Israelites, they marveled because he had studied under the Pharaohs. Egypt had the best educational system, and that was the reason why Egypt was the best, I would say the best economy at that time. It drove civilization. During the time of the Greek empires, the same thing happened. If you go to Athens, as you're going through Athens, you go down to the Coast Island, you see the Mediterranean. As you go through see the Mediterranean, you see the shipping lines that during the time of Aristotle, Socrates, Heraclitus, these men built some of the finest shipping lines in Europe. As I have said, today in America, it's not because they built good bombs that make them great. It's because they have Harvard, Johns Hopkins, MIT, Stanford. If you shut down these top 5, 6, 10 universities for 20 years, America will be like Congo. So knowledge can never be underestimated. And Nigeria can never advance faster than its ability to create knowledge, applied knowledge, to advance the welfare of the citizen. So when our university systems cannot become centers of innovation, there is just no way we can advance as a people. Because the challenges of today are knowledge opportunities that will be sourced tomorrow. So we need to fix our schools.
Chika, hello, Chika. Sorry, Prof. We have Chika from Owerri.
Okay.
Oh, Chika, are you still there with us? Oh, Victor.
Yeah.
Victor from Owerri, are you still there with us?
Yes, I'm there. Good morning.
Okay, Prof, we answer your question, but let him just finish that. It's rounding up on that one. Just stay with us, yes. Okay? Please.
Okay.
Prof, can you round up quickly so we can hear what Victor has to say?
Yeah, so we just have to make our educational system better, not just in university level, but also primary and secondary school. And that was what I planned to point out.
Great. Okay, Victor, fire on.
Yeah, good morning, Doc. Good morning, Prof. My name is Victor. I'm calling from Owerri.
Welcome.
Okay.
Victor.
Okay, my question now is I want to draw the attention of Prof to the issue of security and the structure of our government. Without security and the structure of our government, do you really think that the educational system or technology will be able to give us the desired economic prosperity that we want in Africa or even in Nigeria, going by the structure of our structure of governance and the security situation we have in Nigeria? I think that's my question. I really want your attention towards these two issues. Thank you.
I think you've asked one of the most important questions I can actually imagine, because the fact is this: Nigeria has lost a golden moment and opportunity to pioneer and grow a military sector that can actually export military hardware, military technologies, military know-how, at least in continental Africa. Wow. You know, let's assume that when this paralysis of Boko Haram started, the Nigerians say that all the budgets that we are going to spend or put in the insecurity space, 20% of all technologies or all spending must be locally sourced. You agree with me? Something will happen. Many Nigerians will become entrepreneurs to provide technologies and solutions to the military. Many Nigerians will relocate from America, Britain, to come back to Nigeria because they know they have one big customer. So, but because we are never viewed as a people to think holistically from grounds up. So what do? We go to Israel and import technology, we go to America to import technology. At the end of the day, the security challenge we have has not even enabled us to view the security sector. So what I'm telling you is this: if we had done it right, the knowledge systems would have actually worked. We would have made ABU Zaria to be one of the finest universities in Africa where people can build all this hardware. We can build the next radio. We can build the next Bowie. We have to use our school systems to do that because we have a market. The military is fighting a war. They are going to put an order. Entrepreneurs will arise, and we will have companies that will do that. And that comes back to knowledge. If you don't see it that way, you see that insecurity is a transactional thing. This thing could actually be an opportunity to expand the economy. So the education, you cannot take it away. But I'm not just using the education in the sense of going to school. I usually like to use the word knowledge. Because there are young people you see in Warri who are smarter than professors, but you don't respect them because they don't have a degree paper. So we need to think about knowledge. If we have that knowledge, we will have the humility to engage everyone in building the nation. I am not happy that if you go to Yobe State today, we do not have startups that are offering military solutions to the government. I am not happy that we have not built that sector, despite the fact that we have been fighting a war for the last 6-7 years.
Thank you very much, Prof. That again is brilliant, and I'm sure that Victor is happy that he shared that opinion with you. Now, there is a text from Engineer Larry, who is currently running, well, pursuing his MBA, his master's program, and he's saying to you that he's searching on a project topic. Which topic should be relevant to the fintech or financial services in Nigeria that he should be able to table? He needs your guidance, he needs your advice, Prof.
Okay, that one should be so simple. I want someone in the fintech to create a solution that if I am staying in Lagos, I want to make a payment in Kenyan shilling, I can just pay somebody in Kenya without even knowing that I'm in Nigeria. Wow. It has to be interoperable. It has to be extremely amazing that just like you are paying from Lagos to somebody in Owerri, somebody in Jos, you can pay somebody in Ghana's city, pay somebody in Kenyan shilling, and you will not even know you are paying across the continent. If you can do that, you are going to build a unicorn. A unicorn means that you're going to build a very big company.
Yes.
That is the project topic I'll ask you to do.
Brilliant. Well, okay, Larry, you have to pay me for that. I'm the consultant. I'm the go-between, as it were. So, Prof, I will charge Larry for consultancy on that revelation. Now, this is a Chike, I think, or Chigo from Lagos. It says, truly, without stifling innovation, regulatory agency could we learn and help private sector grow our economy? But he's saying that if you don't stifle innovation, regulatory agencies can be encouraged to actually help our private sector to grow the economy. How do you react to that?
Yes, of course, there is always a balance in the economic system. When you start something, government has a responsibility to make sure you don't destroy yourself. That's why regulation comes in. And also government wants to make sure that we do not get into a state of paralysis where the systems collapse. Nevertheless, one thing I want us as a nation is to look at it from this way. We also want to make sure bad things do not happen. At the same time, we also want to make sure that we can grow our system. So that balance is very critical. If you go back to the U.S. history during the time of Standard Oil, when the U.S. government started breaking Rockefeller's oil empire, the government felt it needed to be done, and they now started breaking it. And even if you see the way they drive their regulation, so Nigeria has an obligation to make sure that we support our innovators, even as we are making sure that we can protect our economy. I wouldn't say blankly that government has not been very helpful. I can tell you that things have really improved. But the only thing here is we should not be banning, suspending, without giving young people the opportunity for them to make their case. That consultative process can actually give them confidence that they can try and push the war without any fear that how is the government going to react. There is that inertia today that someone will say, if I start this thing, are they going to suspend us? Are they going to ban us? We cannot be known as a government that does that. We need rather to be seen as a system that can have a consultative relationship with these innovators of tomorrow. Because look at it this way. In the 1990s, Nigeria created some of the finest banking systems in the Nigeria Stock Exchange today. If those entities were not built, the new generation banks we call them, where would the nation be today? So we need to invest to make sure that we support these young people, because sometimes the way they come, they can never come in the old way. Otherwise, they are not going to come with a new thing. So that they are coming with a new thing should not create tension. Rather, we bring them together. Say, guys, this thing you people are doing, I promise you I don't understand it. But what are going to be the implications? You put a policy that enables them to grow while protecting the economy. But don't ban them. Don't suspend them. Don't freeze their bank account for 6 months. Because anybody who freezes his bank account for 6 months, you basically kill that individual. We need to be more pragmatic as a nation. Thank you.
Again, I thank you, Prof, for showing us the way out of that dark alley. Now, here is another opinion expressed by another caller. He says, since it is now a well-known fact that private sector is the key driver of the economy, what are the practical solutions that you think government can put in place in terms of policy direction to see that we have a stronger private sector participation in our development? What do you think our government should do?
Yes, I see that the future of our nation is going to run through the private sector, becoming more dominant, becoming more creative and innovative. And my hypothesis is that Nigerian government has to have an investment system that enables people to invest in Nigeria. So let's say, for instance, you say that any private equity fund, any venture capital firm, or any investment group, let's say that invest a total of $10 million in a year in any startup, in any company in Nigeria, that you can waive up to 5 years of any profit for that entity. So that, and they can also repatriate that fund, that profit 100% back to their native country. It's going to unlock a new fund system into the country. Because if you look at it, one of the bigger challenges we have is that our companies are not growing. And because our companies are not growing, we cannot employ more people. So if we have the funds to scale some of these great innovators our young people are bringing up, great things will happen. So I do think that how we treat investors by giving them more incentive to invest in our economy, is a kind of, let's forget about the money we make today, because if they invest in these companies, over a long period of time, Nigeria will have a net positive than just taking that. We need to drive that incentive. Because if we can bring in $100 billion into this economy, maybe in 2-3 years, we can stimulate agriculture, we can stimulate manufacturing, we can stimulate many things, because these investors know that they can take this money out and also they don't have to pay taxes on it. Israel has done something so great in that space. And we need to copy that. Because no matter what you think, capital is very, very critical in the formation and the application and the utilization of other factors of production. The labor of tomorrow, somebody has to pay the wages. The land and other things that make up the factor of production, at the end of the day, capital spend. So we need to find how we can bring money into Nigeria to build the companies we want, because we don't have the money. 210 million people budgeting 35 billion. When South Africa has 59 million people.
Prof, let me interject a bit. Anthony from Lagos also has a concern in his heart. Okay, Anthony.
Thank you very much. Good morning again, Prof. This is Anthony Nande, a member of the KBI Institute, actually.
Okay.
We did a good job so far. So I have a quick question. For me, how do we liberate the average African mind? From the political point of view, sir. Because the situation we find ourselves in, that you talked a little about stomach infrastructure and the likes, because that is the only place, that is where the liberation starts from, sir. I think it's a paralysis that is eating into the African national fabric. How do we liberate, especially for the youth across Nigeria? You can see that we're not united as a people because of the diversity of our ethnicity and the likes. So how do we, I think it's in fact a friction that requires that somebody can, how do we go about reorientating the average African man and letting them understand that it is about who will deliver for people rather than who will rule us as the people. That is where, for me, I think real liberation starts from, and Africa can begin to come out from this dark cloud of covers. What do you have to say about this, Prof? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for connecting. So the thing is, the building the minds of knowledge instead of minds of hydrocarbons, minds of whatever we are building, gas reserves, is the only way that Africa get to that mountaintop. When I say mines of knowledge, it means investing in young people, giving young people the right values for them to understand that there is a planting season and there is also a harvesting season. So that liberation of the mind, it has many constellations. It could be showing them role models that to live in a society, to contribute in a society, does not just have to mean that you have to have so many cars, you have to be very, very rich. But realize one thing. Before 1950s, our tribal or multicultural system in Nigeria did not hamper one of the greatest projects in Nigeria. When Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, Amadou Bello, Tafawa Balewa, and the great Awolowo, all of them came together for one project. They came together as Nigerians and they accomplished that project, which was independence of Nigeria. So the demons that now later came, where he's an Hausa, he's an Igbo, he's Fulani Yoruba, came later on because we were no more building the minds of knowledge, rather we are now building the mundane infrastructure of the time. Like I said this thing, the best investment in Nigeria is going to be how we can build the minds of our young people. Just look at Wole Soyinka, look at Chinua Achebe. Do you know in the time they wrote some of the finest works they did? These are the time these young people were exploring new vistas of knowledge. And the university was the citadel of learning. So, but today, these things have changed. And that is the greatest challenge we have as a nation. So how are we going to go back to it?
Prof, if I let you continue, I'm sure we're going to have a thesis from your from what you're providing, because we have so many other questions here. So let me quickly run through them. Segun Eson from Lagos says that, well, what can you say is the way out to the stunted health system in the country? Not only health, you have disappeared to America. So many other experts have disappeared to Dubai and other places. So Segun Eson is concerned that how do we stop that exodus of Nigerians who are experts in their fields to greener pastures elsewhere? Quickly, that one from Eson. Then Oyekachi says, also from Lagos, since our civil servants have nonchalant attitude as regards delivering their services for which they are being employed, how do we therefore adopt solutions? How can they function effectively when actually they are in a way disenchanted, working for the government? Two issues there. Segun Eson, how do we stop the outflow of experts? And Onyekachi is saying civil servants are not well, as it were, motivated to serve.
Yeah, I think, of course, you just have to make opportunities available in Nigeria. If you do that, everyone will come back. And if you just go back to Great Recession in 2008, 2009, actually many Nigerians moved back from America, from Canada, from Europe, because many lost their jobs and they could not find jobs in America and Western Europe. They went back to Nigeria. Human systems are like that. People are looking for opportunities for themselves and their families. So I do not necessarily see this as a moral thing. Okay, tell them go back to their countries to develop their country. It's not going to work that way. Rather, you have to make it an economic thing. Okay, we have an opportunity for you here. We have an opportunity for you in Rivers State. We have an opportunity for Osun State. We have an opportunity in Kano State. We have in Abia State. I promise you that they will carry their bags and come. Just like I noted, if the military says 30% of our budget will be spent on startups in Nigeria, I promise you, I have many friends that are working in Boeing. They will just close up, resign tomorrow, come back to Nigeria to participate and make money by actually serving their people. Now, the second part, the civil service in our nation, we have to give them respect. We have to thank them for what they are doing. But I must also note that we can improve. But the reality here, that improvement cannot just come by people only. There are three critical things, processes. Nigeria is not built under strong institutions. And when you do not have institutions where processes are predictable, many bad things happen. So the reason why you see Nigerians doing well in America is not because we go there and drink special type of water. No, it's just because they have institutions and processes. When you go in there, you plug in, and magically you begin to see outcome. The best we can do for our public sector workers is that we need to have processes. Processes that are predictable, processes that help them to be more productive, processes and systems that can actually help them to advance. And that is one thing that will make an impact. Thank you.
Okay, well, before we leave, Prof, we have always almost taken up the entire hour, and therefore my producers are saying we need to quickly wrap up. But there is this encouragement coming from the World Intellectual Property Organization, asking us that we should look at our traditional knowledge, traditional cultural expressions to use to promote sustainable development. Do you think we can find a way around that?
Oh, that is my best. You know, there was a recent article I had in Harvard about the Igbo apprenticeship system. This construct of shared prosperity where people organically come together to drive communal sources. So Africa has everything. It doesn't have to be Keynesian economy. It doesn't have to be Adam Smith economics. We have everything. So it is very, very critical that we go back, just like the Igbo apprenticeship system. I call it the Umunoma economics. Umunoma means the good bread in economics. How can you come into a community where everyone is rising and not just a few of those people are rising?
Okay, Prof, thank you very much. That's where we are going to call it a day today. We must find a way to a way to call you back again so that we can look at that economic profile that you have just given to us. We'll look at it in details and see how many of us can therefore move forward, with that. So thank you again for joining us on Close Flow, Prof.
Thank you so much, NTA. Thank you for serving our nation. What a privilege for me. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, our callers, and bye-bye.
Okay, for our viewers, it's never over. Of course, you can watch more of this on YouTube or go to our social media handles so you can then, of course, refresh your comments or some of the answers provided by Prof. Thank you for watching, and until next week again, it's bye from us.